Good morning. Hi. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So just letting everybody in. Good morning. You have your camera on, please. Okay, so if you have your blanket handy, we're going to start in a moment. I'm going to say a couple of words before we start. But if you have your blanket in a trifold, because you're going to be lying over it. If you don't have a blanket, don't sweat. You just lie on your back. Good morning. Okay, I think we're more or less all here. Oh, who's that? Morning. Couple more coming in. Morning, Susie. Morning, Trish. Just make sure your camera's on, please. Okay, I think that's everyone. So, good morning. Much brighter day this morning than it was yesterday. So, if you haven't already got your blanket sorted, ideally it's in a trifold, like so. Yeah. Gives you a little elevation, and it predominantly gives the spine a nice lift. So before we lie over that, just a couple of points I wanted to mention from yesterday. Does anybody have any burning questions from yesterday before we start? No? Okay. So, just in relation to some of the activities that we're doing and will be doing, specifically the likes of any retentions with pranayama, any activations with the nabi or the navel center. Just a word of caution. It's important that the attitude when we work with these internal practices is correct. Yeah? And what I mean by that is that we're not pushy, we're not grabby, we're not looking to attain something quickly. Because when you're dealing with the internal aspects of the yoga practice, there are pitfalls, if you like, that can come with trying to impose what we might naturally do on the outside world, which is, I want to get something, I'm going to go get it, and I'm going to whatever. If we do that with the yoga, it tends to backfire eventually. You may get it for a while, but then eventually, because it's about listening to the inner world. And listening, sometimes we may think we're listening, but we're not hearing. Yeah? Or some kind of internal agenda likes to play itself out with how we go about the practice, because I've been down this road. I'm saying it because it's also been my experience, and I've seen it with other people, both peers and students, where there's an agenda, there's a desire to get hold of these things and do them really well, and add repetitions and stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with that attitude per se, but you have to be very cautious that you don't be too pushy and that you don't ask something of the yoga that it's not willing to give you yet. Because in my experience, any of the let's say qualities of enlightenment, let's say becoming a little bit more aware of oneself and one's nature and one's habits, conditions, patterns, and letting go of the ones that don't serve. The way, you can see it very quickly in how we treat each other, treat people in our lives, and by extension, how we treat ourselves. And these, for me, are more important qualities than whether you can master a technique. Yeah, techniques are just techniques; they're tools, but they also come with a warning. That you don't get pushy. That the attitude is one of humility to the practice. There's a reason why traditionally they call Hatha Yoga to force. Yeah? Hatha means to force. It's not just sun and moon, but it's also to force the prana, the life force, through the central channel in the opposite direction that it typically goes. Now that requires a certain amount of, force. No other word for it, really. So that requires a whole setup. A whole external setup. We mentioned it yesterday in terms of the environment, the lifestyle, the diet, all the things that are kind of required for a really in-depth, serious, advanced yoga practice. Most of us don't have that environment around us. Most of you are householders, you're raising kids, you're paying mortgages, you're having a job, you got to interact with the world outside pretty much most of your day. So unless you have the space, the time, the environment to work these things in a very deliberate, focused effort day in, day out, with the right environment supporting those things, it's not just the technique, but it's everything that comes with that. Being pushy or trying to get something too quickly can be damaging. I hope that makes some sense. I'm not trying to instill any fear or anything. It's just I've seen it happen with people who get hold of certain things and they like to go with it. And it's an admirable quality in certain regards, but you've just got to be careful that it doesn't become something that lends itself to maybe overdoing or the wrong kind of attitude that brings these things up. So for example, holding retentions for too long, trying to add too many repetitions too quickly. Because when you work with the inner activities, like we mentioned yesterday, they bring stuff up. The practice is naturally meant to bring stuff up. It's a churning process from the inside out. And so certain anxieties might come up, certain fears, certain qualities or characteristics, patterns will arise to the surface as you churn internally, and that's expected, but it should be expected, or it should arise, if you like, in a way that you can deal with it. You can see it for what it is. Oh, that's me being pissed off right now. I'm really angry. Why am I really angry? I did something. The practice was a bit interesting, the twisting, a lot of twisting maybe, a lot of breathing, and something surfaced. And then you watch it and you see, okay, well, it's not me per se, but it's something in me that's been triggered. And where does that come from? And let me watch it for the day and see what happens. And a lot of the times it goes very quickly because you step away from it. You're witnessing that it's an emotion. It's not who I am. It's an emotion that's associated possibly with a pattern, a condition, a memory that's been in my body somewhere. in the organs typically, in the tissue, and it's come to the surface. So we just have to monitor it and see that you're interacting with activities that are meant to churn things up. So the attitude has to be correct so that you respect the process, don't try to impose or be pushy with it. And sometimes you have to back off if you say, oh, I'm not ready to deal with this feeling that's coming up, or I don't have the space in my life to deal with this feeling. And when you do have the space, then maybe you go a little bit further, but you really have to pay attention to when I add a repetition or when I do more of a certain activity that requires an internal component. What's the response? Is the response one of, ooh? Is it like, oh, that was fine, that was good? And because the ego gets involved very quickly. It jumps right in and goes, hey, that's me, I did that. Give me some more of that. Yeah? And it's not the ego. The ego is like trying to be slightly subjugated or asked to stay quiet in the corner, if you like, when we're doing these practices, because that's withdrawing of the senses. The ego feeds off what the senses are looking around for and getting hold of. Yeah? The moment you start to go inward and withdraw, the ego has less and less potential to hold on to something. It's still there, but it has less potential. So we have to be careful, yeah? So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. With all good yoga, as far as I'm concerned, it comes with a warning, yeah? It just says, okay, do this, but be careful, just pay attention. Don't just do it willy-nilly or do it with an attitude of grabbiness or trying to get something out of it. And particularly those of you who are teaching, we have to really be effective at the techniques that we're working with. So if you're learning something over a weekend, you go teach it the next week, you probably haven't integrated. I've made that mistake in the past myself. So you have to work it for a while before you realize, well, what's the qualities of it? Okay, there are the qualities. Now, what are the pitfalls? What if I don't do it correctly or do it incorrectly? What happens? So that you can address both sides of the equation if you decide to teach it. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense for you, those of you that teach. Okay, any questions on that before we start? The silence. For me, it's hilarious. I asked the crowd, and said, oh, nothing. Okay, so we lie back. So take your blanket. I'm going to take you to the practice. That's it, yeah? It'll take us a good 2 hours anyway. So lying on your blanket, you're going to cross your shins. So the less dominant leg, for me it's my left. So left or right, but less dominant leg in front. When you lie back, have the blanket ideally just close to the sacrum so the lumbar gets supported right away. That you're evenly lying over the blanket, the shoulders evenly lying over the blanket. And then just let your arms come out to the sides with your palms up. So I won't be able to see most of you, which is fine. Just make sure you're lying in a position that feels balanced. If you're on the floor, you're on the floor, that's fine. Ideally, you get a feeling that the brain, the heart, and the belly are slightly descending in that order. So brain's highest, then the heart, and then the belly. Closing your eyes. Relaxing your jaw, let your upper jaw relax on your lower jaw. The tip of the tongue is in position against the upper palate, behind the upper ridge of the teeth, not on the teeth. And just breathe freely for a moment. Don't do anything with your breath. We're going to be working with Viloma, Ujjayi Viloma, which is a segmented breath. Inhaling, hold, inhaling, hold, inhaling, hold. But just for a moment, just breathe freely. Relax any tension in the face. And just to say to you, this is a technical thing related to the computer. If the screen goes blank for a moment, don't worry. It just means I've run out of data and I just need to reboot it quickly. They won't let you buy it until you're out of it. So that's all. A couple of minutes, I'll be back on screen. Hopefully it doesn't run out. Now, with the tongue in position, start to take a few slow, gentle, like barely 30-40% of your full breath into your belly. Mouth closed, in through the nose. 40% into the belly. That's all. No more. Maybe less. So you let the lower belly first expand. And maybe 30-40% is just the lower belly, that's it. Exhaling all the way to empty. Inhale, just fill the lower belly, 30-40% of your maximum breath. And then exhaling fully. Just take a breath, 30-40% into your rib cage. Forget your belly, just come into your ribs right away. Side ribs, back ribs. 30-40%. And exhale fully. We'll do a few rounds just into the side ribs, back ribs, 30%. Exhale all the way to empty. Taking a few more rounds like that. It's easy to breathe into the front of the body. Can you take the breath into the back ribs, the kidney band? Exhale fully. Now we're going to compartmentalize the belly, the ribs, and then eventually the chest. But we'll get to the chest last. So exhale fully again. Inhale to the belly, lower and upper, 30%. Hold. Inhale into the side ribs, back ribs, another 30%. Hold. And then exhale completely, all the way to empty. All the way to the pelvic floor. Don't worry about the bandhas at the moment. Inhale to the belly, 30%. Hold. Inhale to the front ribs, back ribs, 30%. And hold. And then exhale fully. And you're only doing 60% of your breath, so you should have plenty of breath left. You're just working up slowly, all the way to empty. Inhale to the belly, 30%. Hold. Side ribs, back ribs, 30%. Inhale. Hold. Exhale, all the way to empty. A gentle grip on the anus, on the empty. Inhale to the belly, 30%. Hold. Side ribs, back ribs, 30%. Hold. As you exhale fully, relax any grip on the pelvic floor. All the way to empty. Slight grip on the pelvic floor. Inhale 30% to the belly, above and below the navel. Hold. Another 30% to the side ribs, back ribs. hold, then exhaling slowly, release any grip in the pelvic floor, all the way to empty. So any holding in the pelvic floor is just slight grip, relax it on the exhalation. Hold the grip on the empty, inhale, belly, 30%. Holding, inhale, side ribs, back ribs, holding, exhale, all the way to empty. Relax the grip on the pelvic floor. Now we're going to add the chest. Try to bring into the back of the spine as well as the front. Empty, slight grip of the pelvic floor. Inhale to the belly, 30%. Hold. Side ribs, back ribs, 30%. Then adding another 20% into the chest towards the collarbones. 30 might be too much. Hold at the top. Then slowly start to exhale from the collarbones, back down through the rib cage, front ribs, back ribs, down through the abdomen, lower belly, all the way to empty. Slight grip of the pelvic floor. Inhale, belly, 30%. Hold. Side ribs, back ribs, 30%. Hold. Adding 20% up into the collarbones, under the collarbones. Hold. Don't catch the breath, it means it's too much. Then exhale, relax the grip of the pelvic floor as you empty the breath out. In reverse, chest, rib cage, upper, lower belly, all the way to empty. Slight grip of the pelvic floor. Inhale, belly, 30%. Hold. Side ribs, back ribs, 30%. Hold. Collarbones. Side chest, 20%. Hold. And exhaling slowly. Keep the jaw relaxed. The face should be passive. No tension in the eyes, forehead, back of the head. Empty. Slight grip of the pelvic floor. A few more rounds. Inhale 30% to the belly. Hold. Side ribs, back ribs, 30%. Hold. Under the collarbone, side chest, 20%. Hold. Exhale slowly, all the way. Control the exhale, don't let it rush out. All the way to empty. Relaxing the grip on the pelvic floor as you're exhaling. You're going to do a couple more rounds at your own pace. Keep the jaw relaxed, face passive. Only hold the grip on the pelvic floor for the inhale, relax it on the exhale. Finish the one you're on. Exhaling fully. Now a full inhalation. Inhale belly, side ribs, back ribs, all the way up under the collarbones. Same inhale, no hold. Exhale all the way down to empty. Collarbone, side ribs, back ribs, belly, lower abdomen. Slight grip on the pelvic floor for the inhale. Back up, lower abdomen, upper abdomen, side ribs, back ribs, chest, side chest, collarbones. Pause. Then exhale all the way to empty. Chest, side ribs, back ribs, upper belly, lower belly, all the way to the pelvic floor, empty. Slight grip of the pelvic floor, inhale, belly, rib cage, side chest, collarbones, shoulder blades, hold, pausing at the top, then exhale slowly. So continue a few more rounds, full breath from the base of the spine all the way up to the collarbones, shoulder blades, slight pause at the top, and then full exhalation. Release the grip on the pelvic floor on the exhalation. Maintain a slight grip on the inhalation. Keep the face, jaw passive. No force. Couple more rounds. Last one. And finish your exhalation all the way to empty. Relax any grip on the pelvic floor. And just take a normal inhale to follow that exhalation. Normal exhale. A few normal breaths. Softening any tension that might have built up in the jaw and the eyes. And then just allow your legs to straighten out. The legs rest on the floor, stay on the blanket, just let your breath be normal, no control, no interruption. And you're going to gently, slowly let the eyes start to open again. So we'll do a few movements on the floor, but just getting into it slowly. So we'll let your eyes adjust to being open. And you're going to take your time just to bend your knees, place your feet on the floor, roll off the blanket, just move it to the side because you're going to come onto your back again. Just let the legs straighten out so you're on your back. If you're already there, then you just stay there. Eyes are open. Now have your strap handy if you have one. So you don't have to go looking for it. So we'll start with some simple hip circles and then we move into the Supta Baddha. So bending that left knee up towards the chest, take it across the body to the right, circle the hip and out to the left. Big circle, from right to left, the left leg. Keep the foot relaxed, focus on the movement in the hip. Couple more. Next time you straighten the leg out, pause, change direction.